Welcome back to I Am Sent. I'm your host, Prince Marlon, and today on our show we have a very, very special guest, which is Miss Belinda Benn. She's also coming to us from the Chosen Remnant Association, but we will get more into that a little bit later on. This time, I'd like to say welcome to you, Belinda.
Hi, thank you for having me here.
Excellent. Well, I would imagine that it has been quite a journey for you. I've heard a lot about your story and how things went, and we want to get into the details of it, but we want to take it way back. We want to take it from the time that you would understand and recognize yourself as a child, and give us a little idea as it relates to your home, what your home and lifestyle would have been, and what you would have experienced as a young a baby or a kid growing up. Just give us, let us know what it is.
Okay, well, I grew up with my mommy and my daddy, and three sisters, and a younger brother. I'm like the last girl, so it's like the baby girl in the
Yes,
family.
yes.
Um, my little brother and I, he's now deceased. We were really close. We were like the troublemakers in the family,
Sorry
Bim
to
and
hear
Bam,
that.
so to
Sorry to hear that.
speak. And my childhood was really nice. I grew up in church.
Okay.
So from a young and tender age, I knew God, but I didn't know God.
Right.
So I had a knowledge of Him,
Mhm.
but didn't really have a knowledge of Him.
Understand.
Right? But my mom, she loves God. So she, every Sunday, is church.
Right.
It don't matter what, it's church.
Very good.
Right? So my childhood basically was more so in church. We Everything was church. I used to dance in church. I used to sing in church.
Wow.
I loved Sunday school.
Okay.
I
Okay.
loved Sunday school
Did
because
you ever teach Sunday school at any point in time?
no.
Okay, but you love being a
But I
part of it.
loved, yes, I love
Okay.
hearing the stories of the Bible. And, I was always a very inquisitive young woman. I always want to find out, so why this happened and why this didn't happen. And so what Jesus, what Jesus saying now and what happening now that the Bible stories are from so long ago. It has always been a thrill for me to hear about the things of God,
Right.
right? And well, at the age of 16, um, I got pregnant.
But before we go there, at the age of 16 and getting
16,
pregnant,
yeah.
right? Um, as a little girl growing up, what are some of the values or the principles that you would have experienced at home that your parents would have instilled in you or in your siblings that, would have set a foundation for you?
I would say love.
Mm.
Love. My mommy, I would see my mommy, she will take a last and she will give to others in spite of. I mean, we used to get licks, but love was one of the things that don't matter what, because we weren't a rich family,
Right.
but we weren't poor because we
Right.
were never without.
Right.
We never went hungry. We never then could not have gone to school because we didn't have this or we didn't have that.
Right.
She always showed us love, and well, my dad instilled confidence in me.
Mm.
So my nickname home is Billy,
Okay.
right? So he would also Billy, who is so pretty, Billy
Wow.
this and Billy that. So my dad instilled a confidence in me to know that no matter what life throws at you, you be who you are. Don't
Understand.
ever try to fit in to where you're not supposed to fit in. Fit in to be who you are. Lead, don't follow.
Right,
That kind
right.
of thing. Yeah.
And that's a very important thing, as you said, lead and that love, because the Bible tells us that God is love. And without love, how can you say you love your brother or you love God, but you hate your brother? And so that's a very important thing that many need to understand. I want to go a little bit now. Let's go into that transition point. You're transitioning out of from a little girl, and I mean, were there anything in that period of time where you're transitioning that you would have experienced that would have been a bad moment or a bad point for you? Has there been any such in your life?
No.
You had a good transition from a
Yeah.
young, so we're
Yeah.
going into the teenage. So in the teenage years, what was it like when you went to school, um, your friends, that kind of thing, and how as well did it relate to the family?
Well, in my teenage years, I was also like a bright girl.
Mhm.
As I said before, always confident. So I had a lot of friends. right? I was the type of person that I hated when other people take advantage of others. So,
Right.
quote unquote, I will bully the bully. Right? Like, I hated seeing people being taken advantage of. So,
Mhm.
you'll always find that I would have been that person to step, for that person or to defend that person, Um, and I think it came from home because my mommy, she was always, very strong.
Right, right.
Like, she will always defend wrong. She will always, that's not nice. That's not the right thing to do. Don't do this, don't do that. So I think for me, carrying that in school was everything. My dad was the one, you're gonna study your schoolwork. He
Mhm.
was more like the professor.
Right,
Make
right.
sure you get good grades, which I used to get good grades. I was a school prefect.
Mhm.
So my secondary years was good. Never really had, like, I used to fight a lot in school, but it was pretty good, I promise.
The bully and the
Um,
bully.
yeah, never really had to end up in trouble and things like that. As I said, it was always to defend somebody or somebody taking advantage of somebody, and I will, intercept it and things like that. So that was basically my secondary school time. Yeah, it's basically it.
And you made mention earlier on to us that at what point in time did you find yourself going down a track that despite you have been raised in a Christian home, you found yourself going down a point where you should not have gone? How did that unfold? I mean, what caused you to get to that point?
Okay, well, we know when you're in Form 5, you hear students, well, your peers, they will speak about certain things and they will talk about certain things. But as I said, I grew up in church.
Mhm.
So I will say now, I understand now that I had a very naive mind.
Right,
Like, you're not going to believe certain things until you experience certain things,
right, right.
right? And I would say my curiosity is what put me in so much water,
Okay, okay,
right?
okay. I guess like most
Teenagers,
yes.
yeah. And you hear your peers speak certain things, and let me see for myself.
Mhm.
Because at home you're not hearing that.
Right,
At
right.
home you're not hearing them speak about certain things.
And I think that point that you're making there at home, and this is one of the reasons why we actually have this show, I Am
Mhm.
Sent, because it helps to bring home some of those very same things that you are making mention. Because a lot of times, as you said, you don't hear these things being spoken of at home, and it is something I believe that should be a lot more of. Go right ahead.
Yes, because I think, long time the older folks, they were very sheltered.
Hmm.
So I grew up sheltered.
Right.
So your parents, they don't want you to fall in the same things they fall into. They don't want you to get the same hurts
Right.
and pains they would have gotten when
Yes.
they were younger. So they tend to shelter you, but shelter you by not telling. So they say don't do, but they don't say the why, right? But I was, as I said, always curious. And I would hear my parents say certain things, and I used to do lessons after school for CXC,
Right.
right? And that is where I met my son father again, trying to be helpful.
Right.
I was actually supposed to help him do a SPA.
Hmm.
One thing led to another, right? And at that stage in my life, at that age, I felt like all hope was lost.
Understand.
I felt like what could never be,
Right, right, right.
because the day I lost my virginity is the day I conceived my son.
So it was directly first time off,
First time.
immediate, boom.
First time. I felt, I
Right.
laugh at it now as like God is saying, God said to me like, yeah, stepping in your tracks one time.
One
Don't
time,
even try
one
it.
time, yes, yes.
Because when there's a calling on your life, you could run, you could hide, you could do all that you think you could do, but God is gonna catch you.
Yes,
He
yes.
will always find you,
Yes, yes, very
And
much.
as I said, I grew up in church, so since I was a little kid, it's been prophesied in my life. You're called to serve God. You're called. You're chosen.
Yes, yes.
Right. So when I had my son, my mom, my dad were very, very, very supportive. My mom cried. The day I told my mom, I had to summon real courage.
Yes.
And she cried. These old time folks, she said, and I dreamed the fish. But I didn't think it would have been you because I said I was the last girl.
Yes,
So
yes.
And my mom said one thing to me, and that always stay with me, right? She said, well, I'm not God, and I never give life, so I'm not taking any. Right. So you got to hold your head. Yes, and you got to bring this child into this world and right. love this child and know that anything that God do is for reason and it's for purpose. You know, and I have always held that, you know, even when I pray for my son, you know, and when I told my mom, she was like, you have to tell your father.
My gosh.
That was, I thought, I really, like.
I mean, going to your mom is one thing, yeah, but now you're talking about going to your dad. Yeah. Wow.
So it was like, the, how I thought my parents would have reacted, they did not react.
Wow.
Like, I thought I would have get relicked, but I didn't. No, my mom, she said, you have to tell your dad. And I said, I told my dad, and he was like, well, it's not the first, it won't be the last, you know. And it wasn't a response I was expecting, you know. I really thought that they would have been really upset. My mom did say, you know, she was hurt because, as I said, I used to do good in school. And at that time, I was doing CXC. Mind you, I did not know I was pregnant until I was 3 months. Wow. I had no morning sickness, nothing, no baby bump, absolutely nothing, because I was doing CXC. And it proved to me after how much God really, really loves us, you know.
Yes, yes.
It did not interrupt me from doing CXC, because I believe if I had that interruption, like if I knew, like if I had the morning sickness, I don't think I would have been able to do so well in CXC, you know. And it's like almost like God kind of preserve it.
Yeah, yes.
Even though it's sin, right? Because remember, God is sin.
Yes.
But God has a way to use what the enemy meant for evil to turn it around for good. That's and I really believe that my life is that. That's my story.
I understand.
That no matter what the enemy try, God turns it around.
And I like that point that you made there, that what the enemy meant for evil, God has turned it around for good. Because we do look in the Bible today and we see so many individuals who would have made mistakes.
Yeah.
And here it is, you are destined for greatness, but the enemy is taking an opportunity to try and derail you, to try and bring you to a point where things could have been really different.
Yeah.
I mean, even going to your parents and so on. We're here on I Am Sent. We're here with Belinda Benn, and we're going for a break. When we get back, we continue with that story with Belinda Benn, right here on I Am Sent.
He's a great I Am. Yeah.